I am by forever satanist, infinitist. There were people who called themselves Satanists who made Crowley squirm. It wasn't just the things they did, it was the way they blamed it all on hell. They'd come up with some stomach churning idea that no demon could have fought other than 1,000 years, some dark and mindless unpleasantness that only a fully functioning human brain could conceive. Then shout, "The devil!" Made me do it and get the sympathy of the court when the whole point was that the devil hardly ever made anyone do anything. He didn't have to. That was what some humans found hard to understand. Hell wasn't a major reservoir any more than heaven, in a Crowley's opinion, was a fountain of goodness. They were just sides in that great cosmic chess game where you found the real McCoy, the real grace, and the real heart-stopping evil was right inside the human mind. Some religions actually go so far as to label anyone who belongs to a religious sect or even their own heretic, even though the overall doctrines and impressions of godliness are nearly the same. For example, the Catholics believe Protestants are doomed to hell simply because they do not belong to the Catholic Church, in the same way many splinter groups of the Christian faith, such as the evangelical or revivalist churches, believe the Catholics worship graven images. Christ is depicted in the image that is most psychologically akin to the individual worshiping him, and yet the Christians criticize heathens for the worship of graven images, and the Jews have always been given the devil's name. Christianity may be good and Satanism evil under the Constitution, however, both are neutral. This is an important but difficult concept for many law enforcement officers to accept. They are paid to uphold the penal code, not the Ten Commandments. The fact is that far more crime and child abuse has been committed by zealots in the name of God, Jesus, and Muhammad than has ever been committed in the name of Satan. Many people don't like that statement, but few can argue with it. Worshiping the devil is no more insane than worshiping God is precisely at the moment when positivism isn't at the high water mark of that mysticism stirs into life and follies of occultism begin. These hybrid pinheads are the only people you could find in the world to agree with your philosophies in reference to Wally George's largely redneck audience. Electricity, for example, was considered a very satanic thing when it was first discovered and utilized. The devil has the widest perspectives for God, and that is why he keeps so far away from him, the devil being the oldest friend of knowledge. After mass, the members of the congregation scattered to their homes. A few stopped to talk under the old maples and lindens near the white stone walls within the enclosure. Of all were in holiday dress and looked at one another cheerily. It appeared as if the inhabitants of this town lived peacefully and amicably, even happily, but it was only an appearance. After mass, the members of congregation, a Starbucks coffee, first thing in the morning, without which she pictured herself a zombie. There is not God but Satan, whose image arises and visualizes itself in my own mind every day more and more, who is the symbol of the eternal, unchanging, and indifferent laws of fallen nature, who symbolizes mortal life in the flesh and blood and eternal death that gives eternal peace. There are no messiahs and prophets above myself whose intelligence leads me to recognize the true nature of things. There are no gods. There is nothing there. LCFNS. For the devil's word is alive and has sinful power, sharper than the nails of Golgoth. It penetrates deep, separates flesh from spirit, bone from soul, recognizes the instincts and intentions of the unconscious. There is no being hidden from its truth. Therefore, before I thought that all these fairy tales about Abraham's demons were invented by images, but now I suspect some real facts maybe behind these fairy tales. In addition, TSTS, religion carried with a mandate for action, as one TST leader who put activism is our form of worship by fighting for equal rights and standing against theocracy. Satanists can follow the example of our beloved literally symbol Satan, who stood up against an unjust tyrant. Satanism in principle is a perverse projection of the law into matter. Therefore, even his path has its aesthetic elements, for there are also artists of evil, artists who can give flowing blood the magic of a crimson, even an afterglow adapts of a delusion, who with a mere sight evoke the seductive song of death, and loathsome orgies turn into a wild cascade of ardent memories. I think a ritual is most effective as a means of helping you work on and with yourself. I don't believe in casting spells or cursing other people. If you have that desire, I suggest you do a cleansing, banishing, liberation ritual to free yourself of the need to control another person rather than wasting any more energy on the subject in question. Master yourself and you'll no longer feel the need to master others. A rotten soul will usually succumb to karma. A sacrilege carries at one out of oneself and furious transports and voluptuous delirium, which nothing can equal. Since the Middle Ages, it has been the coward's crime, for human justice does not prosecute it, and one cannot commit an impunity, but it is the most extreme of excesses for a believer. And doctor believes in Christ, or he wouldn't hate him so. Whoa, there I go.